Hi guys, welcome or welcome back. If this is your first time seeing my face, then hi, my name is Maddie. I'm assuming that you already saw the title of this video, but you may not know what it is. So today I'm going to be going on a book scavenger hunt to pick out my next read. I have only seen this done by Ellen here on YouTube, and I will link her channel down below. You should definitely go check her out. I love her videos. I think there's definitely a good amount of people who do this, but it's just not a very common video. Basically, the idea is that you have a bunch of prompts that lead you from one book to the other, and the last one is the book that you have to read. Ever since I saw Ellen's video where she first did this, I've always wanted to try it. It just looks so fun. And I thought that it would be even more fun if I did it with my friend Mick. I have mentioned Mick so many times in so many videos, so hopefully a few of you recognize her, watch her, know who she is. She is one of my best friends. We lived together for 3 years in college, and we both started booktube channels at the same time. So Mick actually came up with the 8 prompts that I'm gonna go through in this video, and then I came up with the prompts that she is gonna do in her own video. So I will of course link her channel and her video in the description. I just feel like it makes it a little bit more fun. She sent the prompts to me earlier today, and I tried my best to avoid looking at them as much as I could. I briefly glanced a couple of them when they were on my screen, but for the most part, I don't really know what these are, and it doesn't really matter because it's not really the kind of thing where I could prepare anyways. I just have to follow her prompts and see where they land me. If you can't tell, I'm really excited to go through her prompts and just pick out my book, so let's go ahead and start. Mick said, I apologize in advance if any of these are too hard or confusing. I give you permission to bend a little if needed. LOL, also sorry for the math. Honestly, it was hard to come up with unique prompts. I thought that doing it for each other we'd be able to come up with some fun and unique stuff, but it's pretty limiting. Because after your first prompt, you have one book and then you just have to use something about this book to get you to the next book. So I'm excited to see what she came up with because honestly, I was struggling to find 8 prompts at one point. Number 1, grab your favorite book of 2023, find another book on your shelves with the same number of syllables in its title. So my favorite book of 2023. I never really defined what my favorite book of the year was. It feels crazy because it was the first or second book that I read all year, but I think I'm gonna go with The Light of All That Falls by James Islington, which is the final book in the Lacanius trilogy. So how many syllables? The Light of All That Falls. Are those all 1-syllable words, or did I forget what syllables are? The Light of All That Falls. Okay, yeah, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 syllables. So any other book with a 6-syllable title? People we meet on vacation? No. Daughter of No Worlds? No. The Ballad of Never After. Okay. Okay, going with The Ballad of Never After. These both have 6-syllable titles. Prompt number 2. Flip to page 77, line 2. Pick a word from that line and find a title with that word. Okay, this is fun. Oh! So, page 77, line 2 is just 3 words. Might be here. So, let me find a book with the word might or here in it. Okay, I checked, and I don't have a single book with the word might, be, or here in the cover, which seems pretty crazy. I even checked on Goodreads, and I just don't have anything. The one thing I do have, though, is Little Fires Everywhere, and the word everywhere has the word here in it, so this is what I have to use. It's not the same, but it's close enough. Number 3, find a book that you've given 4+ stars with the same color scheme as this book. Ooh. Most of my red books are on here, so, oh, wait a minute. Close. Okay, the 2 that I found are The Inheritance Games and Malibu Rising. I don't have something that's blue and green. I feel like these look too different. I think the green matches better, so we're gonna go with this one. Number 4, count the number of letters in the book title and author's name. Pick a random spot on your bookshelf and count to that number of book. Ooh, where do I wanna start? I'll start here, after my book nook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 37. Whoa. I just had to pick a Jennifer Lynn Barnes book with a long name. Okay, so starting from here. Okay, next book is A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas. I have not read this yet. Prompt number 5 is go to the acknowledgements of this book and find a name. Find a book by an author with that name. I feel like this could be hard. Okay, we have Josh, Annie, Tamar, Laura, Cassie, Bethany. Okay, there's a lot of names. Let's see. Okay, there's a John in here. So I will go with The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. That wasn't as hard as I thought. Prompt number 6. Count the number of vowels in the book's title. Find a book with a title that has at least 1 more vowel. So this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 vowels in it. Let's find something with at least 7 vowels in it. My first guess was none of this is true. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is fun. I wish I had more prompts. Number 7 is reverse the page number of this book, divide it by 2, and find a book with a page count as close to that number as possible. She said, hope this works, lol. I hope so too. Let's see. Okay, it has 366 pages, so I think this is gonna work. 366 reversed is 663, which divided by 2 is 331.5. I'll round up to 332. So I guess I need to start going through books that look like they've got about that many pages. No way. On my second try, I picked Practice Makes Perfect, which has 331 pages. I think this is probably as close as I'm gonna get. Now we're on to our last prompt. So this is gonna be the book that I have to read. So to do this, I'm actually gonna move us. That was my pretty bookshelf, and it's mostly books that I've already read. I just wanted to be able to stand for most of this. So that's why I filmed there. But now this is where most of my unread books are. So for this last prompt, we just had to move here. Okay, so starting with Practice Makes Perfect, my last prompt is close your eyes, flip to a random page, and point at a random word. Find a title with that word. Or if you happen to point at a noun, I'd also accept a cover with that object on your TBR. Okay, I'm so scared. I hope I find something good. Okay. All? I pointed at all. Nothing is coming to mind yet, but I feel like that could be in some titles. Let's take a look. Okay, I just looked through every book and I'm pretty sure I don't have anything with the word all in it, so I'm gonna try again. Sword! Why did I get so excited? Because immediately I know that I do have one. I have Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare, but let me just see if I have any other options. Oh wait, I can do anything that has a sword on the cover. Oh, that's perfect. Basically any fantasy book ever. Hold please. Honestly, I think that I picked the best possible prompt, at least for someone who wants to read fantasy, which I am always in the mood for fantasy. So I have a lot of options. Like I said, I have Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. This is the only one I have that actually has the word sword in the name. I would pick it just because of that, but honestly, I'm already reading a Cassandra Clare book this month and I don't know that I want to read 2. And I don't think that I want to read 2 different fantasy series by the same author in the same month. So I am not leaning towards this one. It's also pretty thick, so I'm a bit scared. Then we have One for My Enemy by Olivia Blake. This is a Romeo and Juliet retelling in New York City about 2 rival witch families. Sounds really interesting. I don't know that I'm really in the mood for this right now, but it is on my priority TBR. These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong, again on my priority TBR. I've been saying that I want to get into her books, and this is the first one, I think. I have no idea what this is about other than I think it's in Shanghai and there's some sort of gang rivalry going on. The Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson. This is the first book in a trilogy that takes place before the Dance of Thieves duology, which is super popular. I got this just to read so that I could then go on to Dance of Thieves, but I've also heard that this series itself is really good. This is one of the books in this stack that I think I've had the longest. Last is Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent. This one is also scaring me because it is big. And I've also heard that this can be a little bit slow, but I have been really wanting to get into her writing. But I think I'm gonna save this one for another time. So this is going next to Swordcatcher. I'm between these 2. I think I'm gonna do The Kiss of Deception. Just because this one has been on my TBR for a really long time. And this book is essentially holding me back from 4 other books on my TBR, not just the other 2 in the series. So I need to get to it. It's one of those books that I've always been really excited for, but I've just never felt the desire to pick it up. So it's good that I'm gonna be reading it now. That was really fun. I feel like something along these lines should become a monthly or every other month kind of thing. I guess I shouldn't talk too soon. Let's see how this book goes. So I'm not gonna start this today, or at least not right now. I'm in the middle of a book and I have like 80 pages left. So as soon as I finish that, I will be starting this. And I think I'll do a really quick reading vlog, but basically just my review. So I will try and check in with you maybe around the halfway point, and then I will of course give you my final review. Okay, hi. It is 4 or 5 days later. I don't really know how long it's been. Pretty sure I'm wearing the same sweatshirt, but I promise it's a new day. Also, I'm filming a quick little update while I am making chicken nuggets. so I hope that you can't hear the ticking of my toaster oven. But I am 54% through with the book, so I wanted to give you an update. Obviously, I started reading it on my Kindle. Actually, let me be right back. I'm gonna grab the book and show you something. Okay, so this is how much that I have left of the book. And I started reading on my Kindle for a couple reasons. One, I just love reading on my Kindle and I haven't had a book on there in a long time. And two is, I think this is the first time I'm ever saying this, but this book is too floppy. I don't know if you can tell, but this is the floppiest book I think I've ever held. And it's also so strange. This looks like it's a really short book. It looks like it's 300 pages. It is 500 pages. So the pages are really thin, and yes, like the font is really big. So it's not actually that long of a book, but a lot of times I went to flip the page and I pulled 2 pages at once because they're just so thin. And none of this is important, but I'm just really glad that this book is on Kindle because I was just having a hard time reading the physical book, which is really strange and picky, so just ignore that. But I have just a couple thoughts so far, and I don't know if I gave you the background about like what this book is about. If I didn't, then this book is about this girl, Leah. Wait, is that her name? Yes, that is so sad. It is about Leah, who is a princess, and she's supposed to get married to this prince to form some sort of alliance between these two countries. And she doesn't want to get married to somebody that she doesn't know, let alone doesn't love. So she decides to flee. And there is a bit of a love triangle going on between her, the prince that she was supposed to marry, and then an assassin that was sent after her. So far, I think I'm enjoying this, but I'm a little bit disappointed. It has just been a little bit slow and boring for me so far. It just doesn't feel like a whole lot has happened, and not even a whole lot of like foreshadowing or hinting at things that are going to happen later to keep me interested. But now on page 295, I feel like we are getting to the point where something good could happen. And I do always hate when a book takes that long to get me really invested. I feel like, especially with a new fantasy series, I'm gonna give it at least like 100 pages to build the world, get me invested, but 300 pages is just a bit longer than I would have liked. I'm honestly just chilling, waiting for the plot to pick up. And I do have one comment on the romance. I feel like things are moving a little bit quick. By the time that a little bit of romance actually started, it just felt like it picked up so quickly, and I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. First off, it's young adult, and nothing explicit or bad actually happens, but I do feel like there's more happening than I'm used to in a young adult book, so I was kind of surprised by that. Really not a whole lot of anything has happened, but it's just a little bit more descriptive maybe than I expected. And I feel like we went from 0 to 100 pretty quick. I'm sure that there's a lot of development that's gonna happen in the romance area, but as of right now, that's how I'm feeling. So I'm sad to report that I am not loving the book, but I'm not disliking it either. Right now, it's kind of sitting at like a 3.5 star. It's enjoyable, but nothing special. I'm just kind of trying to get to the more interesting part. So I really hope that the second half of the book saves it and makes it much more interesting and gets me interested to read the second and third book. I think that's all the updates that I have for right now. I know I'm not gonna finish this for at least another couple of days, but I would like to just get along with it. I just did the math. I'm on page 295 of 490, which is 60% through the book. Why does my Kindle say I'm only 54%? I was thinking that that was a little bit behind. Anyways, so I really only have 200 pages left. So maybe I really will be able to get it knocked out in 2 days. I guess we'll just have to see. Okay, it is literally 5 minutes since I last filmed that update. I'm literally so stupid. I got 2 of our 3 main characters mixed up. I wish I was kidding. I literally thought one was the other. And I actually thought that this was a plot device. I thought that she like switched bodies or something. I'm quite positive she didn't. I just got the 2 people mixed up. Maybe it was on purpose. Like, I don't think it was. I looked like really briefly at some reviews on Goodreads just to see if anybody mentioned anything about body swapping. I didn't see anything. But what I did see is a lot of people hating this book, so that's fantastic. Anyways, I'm gonna go take a bath and read as much of this as I can, but I just had to come here and show how big of an idiot I am. I don't think I've ever done this before. So disappointing. Okay, I'm back because I have finished the book. I feel like I have done a horrible job of the reading vlog portion of this video. I don't even think you could call it a reading vlog. I really just came on to give you my thoughts midway, and here I am again to give you my final thoughts. So yeah, it is what it is. I finished this while I was at work, so I've had quite a few hours to think about it. Not that I wanted to think about it. Honestly, I just wanted to start a new book, which is not really a good sign. It took me 6 days to read this and I ended up giving it a 3-star. Overall, I'm just pretty disappointed with this. I just went into it with really high hopes and I don't think that it was bad. It just wasn't what I wanted it to be. It's just under 500 pages and I just was a little bit bored. I honestly was just reading it to get it over with so that I could finish this video and move on to my next book. And that feels really harsh because it's not like I hated this book, but I just feel like not a whole lot happened and nothing happened that made me want to pick up the next book. I do have books 2 and 3, but I don't know if I'm going to continue the series. I really wanted to read the whole trilogy before I moved on to Dance of Thieves, which comes after this, but I just don't know. It's not a definite no that I won't continue the series, but I'm definitely not itching to pick up the next book. And I feel bad because honestly, I don't know that I can really pinpoint what my issue with this book was. The stakes didn't really feel that high. I don't know. I just don't feel like plot-wise it has enough going on character-wise. There's just nothing that I can point to in this book that I did actually really like. Okay, it's the next day, so I've had a full day to process my thoughts, look at reviews on Goodreads because I'm incapable of coming to my own unique conclusions, and I just had to come back and update you on what I feel like are my true final thoughts. I know yesterday I said that the book was a 3-star. I think I'm demoting it to a 2-star. I wasn't really sure what it was that I wasn't liking about this book, but now after reading reviews and really sitting with it, I feel like I can explain better. First off, I know I already said that I was expecting so much more from the book, and here's what I was expecting. This book was sold to me as a fantasy and enemies to lovers, and I was really excited because who doesn't love fantasy and enemies to lovers? Like, whatever. The book really just didn't feel like a fantasy at all. It has the typical like kingdom, old-timey kind of feel to it that a lot of fantasy series do, but there's really no fantasy element other than this gift, which some women have, and I think it's where they see things or they hear voices and stuff, but it plays a very minimal part, and I just don't feel like it's enough to really consider this a fantasy, or at least a high fantasy, which I think is what this is portrayed as. So that was my first letdown, is I was waiting for some more fantasy elements to kick in and they just never did. And 2, the enemies to lovers. I don't think that this book should be marketed as an enemies to lovers at all. I think that is just not good advertising. I think anybody going into it is probably going to be let down if they're expecting that. It is a love triangle, like I said, between the princess, the prince she was supposed to marry, and then the assassin that is sent after her. And at the beginning, both of them do not like her, but basically before they've even spoken to her, they are in love with her. So there is no enemies to lovers aspect, like, at all. Sure, there is some of that, like, oh, I can't be with her because I'm supposed to kill her or whatever, but there's no enemies to lovers. But I do know that a lot of people like this. Obviously, I bought it for a reason, and that was because I think I saw a bunch of people talking about it like a year ago, saying that it's so good. Some people liked it better than Dance of Thieves, and they said it was definitely worth the read. I actually got a comment from somebody last night on my most recent video telling me that they saw this on my TBR cart and that I should read it because it's a really great book. And I just feel bad that I didn't connect with this and I didn't love it. Maybe I will give the second book another chance at some point because I definitely am going to go into Dance of Thieves at some point because I've heard amazing things about that series. My experience with this is not going to change my mind on reading that one, but I just don't know if I want to continue this series or just drop it and start with Dance of Thieves eventually. I think that's really all that I have to say about the book. I hate that I only read one book in this video and it was negative, but I did have a lot of fun just with the whole scavenger hunt thing and I would like to do this again. I love the idea of just being forced to read a random book on my TBR. Yes, I pick out a TBR each month and I try to switch it up or I'll have other people pick it out for me, so maybe they'll pick a book that I wasn't really in the mood for or wasn't thinking about. But just because the book's on my TBR doesn't mean that I actually have to read it. And this type of video isn't much of a commitment, but it gets me to read at least one book off my physical TBR. And hopefully when I do it again, it picks a book that's like this that I have been really wanting to read, but it's been on my TBR for a really long time, and I probably wouldn't have picked up anytime soon. And hopefully the next one is a better experience. I hope that y'all enjoy this video because like I've said a million times, I do really want to do this again. Oh, and again, if you haven't already, you should definitely go subscribe to Mix's channel and go watch her scavenger hunt video where I picked out the prompts that she uses. Thanks so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed and I will see you in the next one. Bye!